The woman who posed as a missing girl is freed from jail. But first, our top story at 5 o'clock, getting around the Circle City. You have to get to work, to school, the doctors, and yet many of you have been on the brink of losing your transportation. Indigo started this year $4 million in the hole, calling for driver-even route cuts. News 8's Marley Ginter is at the Indigo meeting this evening, where officials have mapped out their plans.
Well, the Indigo board meeting is just now starting, where officials have said that they hope to work with riders and keep their transportation. But some of the people out here have their concerns. Let's take a look at what some of these signs say over here. This one says, "A first-class city deserves first-class public transportation." This one has an X through route cuts. Now I see some other people have signs that say, "Don't take my only ride." That's right. These aren't the only people that have been out here. Take a look at some of the people who were out here earlier. Of course, they say that this is their only way, Indigo is their only way to get to and from work, to doctor's appointments, even to get to see their grandchildren. And some fear that they will not have any transportation if these routes are cut.
Whether they work downtown or crosstown. And they need it more than just through the week, because people have to work on this. The city doesn't shut down completely all over the place on the weekends. You need to be able to get to your job.
Now, you may remember that Indigo had considered cutting up to 40 routes, 70 jobs. Now, today they are saying that they are going to try to work and make sure that people have a way to get to and from work, whether that means that they use a rideshare program. And we'll, of course, brought these concerns to the chairman, and we'll hear what he had to say at 6.
All right, thank you very much, Marley. Now another bit of turmoil, this time coming from Conner Prairie. That story about the turmoil there is taking a different turn today because the Attorney General's office ordered the release of financial information, and Leslie Olson's live at the State House now to tell us this is going to put new pressure on Conner Prairie's trustee, Earlham College.
That's right, Eric. Indiana Attorney General Steve Carter is trying to negotiate a settlement between Earlham College and the Conner Prairie Living Museum. The two sides have been fighting over who will control a multi-million-dollar trust donated by the late Eli Lilly. Carter says he has been trying to negotiate a settlement which would create a new management corporation to run the museum. The college would still receive a portion of the income, but it would have to sever its ties to Conner Prairie. Today, Carter filed a petition asking a Hamilton County Superior Court judge to order Earlham College to give a full accounting of its 40 years of management of the trust. Carter believes some information has been provided, but not all of it. He says the longer the negotiations continue, the worse this situation becomes.
But I think it's important to recognize that the ongoing controversy continues to have a harmful impact upon Conner Prairie. The morale of the staff and the management has been hurt by the continuing uncertainty as to the future of the museum. The donor community and some in the philanthropic community have looked at this with question, wondered how it will be resolved, when it will be resolved, what it means for the two institutions that seek their support.
But Carter is optimistic. He says there are 2 more negotiating sessions scheduled, and he hopes this information will come and a settlement can be reached. Mike?
Leslie Olson at the State House, thank you. This has been a deadly day in Iraq for U.S. troops. 10 soldiers were killed, 8 of them in a car bombing south of Baghdad. The other 2 died in a convoy attack in Baghdad and a roadside bomb in the city of Bakuba. The violence continues as U.S. Marines and former Iraqi generals are trying to negotiate a pullback of U.S. forces from the besieged city of Fallujah. A U.S. commander had announced a tentative deal earlier today, but a Pentagon official this evening warns nothing is final. A cordial conversation. That's how President Bush is describing a session with the 9/11 Commission today. He and Vice President Cheney wrapped up 3 hours of questions from the independent panel this afternoon. There were no recorders, no stenographers on hand in this closed-door session in the Oval Office. Afterward, the president gave his take on his session with the commissioners.
If we had something to hide, we wouldn't have met with them in the first place. We answered all their questions, and as I say, I think I came away good about the session. Because I wanted them to know, how I set strategy, how we run the White House, how we deal with threats.
President Bush and Vice President Cheney weren't alone when they faced the 9/11 panel today. White House counsel Alberto Gonzales and 2 of his staff members were in the closed-door session as well. Indiana Congressman Steve Booyer is now Colonel Booyer. In a private ceremony that took place in the Oval Office late this afternoon, George W. Bush pinned Silver Eagles on Congressman Booyer. The promotion comes at a time when Booyer is facing a primary challenge by 3 candidates, including one who questions whether Booyer was called up to active duty last year, as Booyer claimed in a letter to House Speaker Dennis Hastert. In a direct mail flyer, Dennis Hardy says Booyer lied much like Bill Clinton did. Hardy also questions the timing of today's ceremony.
But it does seem kind of funny that, 3 days before the primary, he has the president pin him on his promotion when normally it's presidents don't pin 06s. They pin 4-star generals and 5-star generals, and we haven't had any of them in a while.
For the president to do this to both of us says that the service of the reserve components is meaningful, it's measured, and he's grateful.
Congressman Booyer was promoted today along with South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham.
The Marion County Sheriff's Department busted what they believe is a church vandalism ring. Looks like we have a group of young people involved, and News 8's Mike Corbin says this may also lead them to solving a rash of burglaries on the northeast side.
Pastor Mark Upchurch still can't believe what's been done to his church.
We'll get the rest of that audio later, but the additional part of this, the men were also linked to an armed home invasion on 39th Street where they allegedly tied a man with duct tape. Authorities are still searching for the man that they believe is the group's ringleader. Now, a teenager charged with murder is awaiting the verdict from a jury today. 15-year-old Keith Munden is accused of killing a friend of his more than a year ago, a fellow teenager. Bonnie Drucker's live at the City County building, and Bonnie, this gets extra attention now because this is the second trial for Keith Munden.
That's exactly right, and the jury has been deliberating for about 2.5 hours now, and it's clear this is a waiting game. Lillian Henry needs a hug. She's Anthony Boycourt's mother. She's waiting for the jury to come back and determine whether her son's best friend murdered him. Prosecutors say 15-year-old Keith Munden shot and killed Anthony Boycourt, his boyhood friend, because Boycourt owed him $400 for marijuana.
The kid's a killer. Cynthia alluded to it in her final argument that times have changed. Offenders are getting more violent, they're getting younger. And if he's a member of this community, he will conduct himself within the confines of the criminal law, or he'll face the bar of justice. I don't care how old he is.
Police found Boycourt's body in an alley on the near south side of Indianapolis, New Year's Day, 2003.
Fair that he is not walking amongst us with the ability to do what he did on the night of January 1st, 2003.
And again, this isn't the first time Munden is standing trial for this crime. It's the second time. The first one ended in a mistrial. This time they've switched up the prosecutors. Mike, now back to you.
Bonnie, thank you. Bonnie Drucker of the City County building. The woman who tricked an entire community into hoping for a happy reunion between a missing Thorntown girl and her family is out of jail this evening. News 8's Pam Elliott has reaction to Donna Walker's release just weeks after being sentenced.
Did you serve enough time to where you won't do this again?
Donna Walker said nothing as she left the Boone County Jail after midnight. Earlier this month, Walker pleaded guilty but mentally ill to attempted identity deception and false reporting. Her sentence landed her less than a year in jail. The prosecutor's office says it's an appropriate sentence given her mental state. Walker has been diagnosed with factitious disorder, which psychiatrists say causes her to make up situations to gain attention. Mike Sherrill fell victim to one of Walker's hoaxes. His daughter Shannon disappeared from her Thorntown home at the age of 6. He still carries an old photo. He thought Shannon might still be alive after he received a call from Walker, impersonating his daughter.
She didn't serve enough time. If it had been me, I would have locked her up and threw away the key.
Roxanne Epperly is a customer at Sherrill's store.
I don't think she spent enough time at all for the emotional trauma that Mike's family's gone through and everything, and I think she needs to be more evaluated.
A woman who has befriended Walker told News 8 that Walker will remain in Indiana for a short while. Then she'll return to Kansas to serve out her 4 years of probation. Pam Elliott, Wish TV, News 8.
And prosecutor's office says as part of that probation, Walker will have to continue seeing a doctor. We want to thank our news gathering partner, the Lebanon Reporter, for helping us on this story.
It was another warm and breezy afternoon across the area. Live view from Chopper 8 on this Thursday late afternoon. Things look pretty quiet, but could get active as we head into the weekend. Stay tuned for your forecast.
And some sweeping changes by the NCAA that'll send ripple effects throughout the college sports world. Details straight ahead.
The problem is most people don't show up before 3 hours. So the bulk of people with an acute stroke really miss the window.
And can this drug save you from the damage done from a stroke? A new study later on News 8.
Indiana has been blessed with great leaders like Governor Bowen and Governor Whitcomb.
As governor, my #1 priority was always the people of the state of Indiana. I know Eric Miller will also keep the people of Indiana first.
Eric Miller has been a great leader at our State House for over 23 years. His consistency will lead Indiana in the right direction.
I'm grateful for their support, and I would appreciate your vote May 4th.
The sale is on, so see us now.
At Ray Skillman Discount Mitsubishi, own a new 2004 Lancer, starting as low as $189 per month.
Sign up now for SBC Unlimited nationwide calling and choose from one of 3 gourmet gifts from Harry and David to send to a friend, or maybe just keep. Or call now for rates as low as 5 cents per minute with a $3 monthly charge.
The NCAA is watching those college report cards. I guess we're trying to make sure, or hearing that they're trying to make sure that there is scholar in scholarship athlete, right?
Graduation rate, important. President Miles Brand really wanted to put some teeth into some academic reform, and he certainly got it done. The NCAA is ready to punish schools that cannot graduate its student athletes or keep them academically eligible on the road to a degree. Well, the incentives program basically holds each school and sports program accountable for educating the student athlete. Cut lines will be drawn where if schools fall below certain academic standards for their teams, they'll suffer scholarship losses, limits in recruiting, all the way up to making the teams ineligible for postseason play.
It not only affects the men's basketball programs that we have had concerns about over the past few years, but it affects institutions and programs across the board. Now, wherever those cut lines are, if you will, to determine which programs are above and below the actual cut line, probably will, for a while, disproportionately impact men's basketball and football. But all programs are going to be measured, and I think all will perform better.
The reform is being put into place now, penalties starting as soon as next year. It's going to affect a lot of schools out there, guaranteed.
Yeah, they sound serious, as if there was ever a question before.
The bottom line is now, get your kids through school, get them a degree, or else they're not going to be able to play.
Thanks, Chris. Karen?
Thank you, Eric. An accident waiting to happen is how some describe the Newport Chemical Depot. Just west of Indianapolis, this state houses 1,200 tons of the deadliest chemical weapon in the world, VX. Experts agree it could be a target for terrorists looking to strike in the heartland. So former FBI agent Doug Garrison and I put security to the test.
Because we drove along the perimeter and nobody said anything to us.
You did today? Okay.
No. A couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Conversation with Commander Marquardt tonight on News 8 at 6. Plus, even enhanced military security wouldn't protect it from a tornado, which is another concern. We'll show you a home video too tonight at 6 of what passed within a mile of the depot in recent years.
There's nothing like kids in your house, but it's important to keep in mind that there are hidden dangers everywhere. I'm David Barris, and we'll tell you how to find some of those coming up on our Angie's List report.
Plus, the nation's smoggiest cities still ahead on News 8. We'll tell you what state dominates the list. And there's no smog here thanks to another windy day in central Indiana. Angela has your forecast, which includes the threat of thunderstorms next at 5.
All this month, the kids can call and hear one of the Pacers read a story on the library's Call a Story line, and it's all free. I'm Tina Cosby. News 8 at 5 continues after this.
This portion of the news brought to you by Tom O'Brien Chrysler Jeep.
Our 5 o'clock news hour continues now with a great view from Chopper 8. Time for some baseball. This is Victory Field, and as we heard from Chris Whidlick. Last night at 11 o'clock, the Indians doing really good so far this season, and it has been great weather for baseball the last couple of days. Temperatures warm again this afternoon. Captured some sunshine and some clouds from Tower Cam 8 earlier today. Clouds haven't produced any rain yet, but that may change. High temperature this afternoon hit 77 after a morning low of 55 degrees. So after a cooler than average start to the week, we're back to above average temperature. 77, well above the average high of 68. Our low this morning again dropped to 55. Average is 46. Record low for the day, 31 degrees. Currently we're at 76. Still breezy, winds out of the south-southwest at 16 miles per hour. Different perspective of the cloud cover. We're dealing with some clouds now, but nothing in the way of rain. But there are showers developing out west, and that's the moisture that we're going to be watching for later tonight and as we head through the next couple of days. And we actually could use a little bit of rain. Let's go inside the numbers in terms of precipitation this month. We're only at 1.5 inches. Up to this point, we should be at 3.48, so that puts us almost 2 inches below average. But there's the possibility of some pockets of heavy rain the next 24 to 48 hours. Northern half of the viewing area could see as much as 1/2 inch to 1 inch of rain, and we're going to be watching this frontal boundary closer. As it starts to move south, we'll see the possibility of those showers and thunderstorms increasing. It looks like the steadiest rain will stay southeast of us overnight and through the early part of tomorrow, but we're not going to rule out the possibility of a spotty shower or a rumble of thunder overnight. As the front starts to work its way slowly south, spotty showers redevelop tomorrow afternoon. May see a scattered thunderstorm as well. We won't get the heavy rain in here until the area of low pressure arrives, and that's forecast to happen Friday night and through the early part of Saturday morning. This is midnight Saturday with some heavy rain across central Indiana. It moves east, but the frontal boundary is still with us. So if you're making weekend plans, we are going to have to work around some rain. Showers and maybe some thunderstorms right on through Saturday afternoon and Saturday evening. This front won't clear the state until the end of the weekend, and then as it does, we're going to cool down dramatically behind the front. Mostly cloudy and mild spotty showers, 58 degrees on your low temperature, 76 for tomorrow afternoon, variable clouds, maybe a shower, maybe a thunderstorm, but they should be few and far between. Better chance for some steadier rain late Friday night through the early half of Saturday. Saturday showers and storms, 70 with the rain around, sprinkles, and much cooler for Sunday, 55.
If you are trying to avoid smog, certainly do not move out west. Los Angeles tops the annual report from the American Lung Association, and 7 of the top 10 cities are in California, along with Houston, Texas, Knoxville, and Dallas-Fort Worth. The report finds nearly 1/2 of all Americans live in health-threatening levels of smog. By the way, the healthiest air in the country, according to the report, is Ames, Iowa. The so-called angel of death appears in court today. Still ahead on News 8, the latest on this former nurse who claims to have killed dozens of patients.
It's important that they ask the questions they ask so that they can help make recommendations necessary to better protect our homeland.
And the president is quizzed in private about what he knew before 9/11. Should the meeting have been made public? It's this evening's Point Counterpoint.
It's 5:26. Good evening. I'm Joy Dumandan, and welcome back to News 8. In the next 10 minutes, we'll show you ways to make your home safe for kids using the simple and the sophisticated. Should the American people know what President Bush told 9/11 commissioners today? We have both sides of the argument for you. Plus, there's new hope for patients this evening who suffer a stroke but come to the emergency room too late to get a clot-busting drug. But first, when a child arrives at your house, be it a newborn, a grandchild, or a visitor, a whole new set of rules goes into effect. We are talking safety rules because there's a lot of danger a small one can get into. News 8's David Barris and Angie's Hicks of Angie's List team up with a child safety expert looking for trouble spots.
Ethan Holder is a typical little boy. If he's not exploring the outdoors, he's inside looking around. Parents Todd and Denise Holder know little Ethan won't stay in one place long. But for somebody Ethan's age, wandering around the house can pose its hazards.
If you look at some of the statistics, children 14 and younger, unintentional injury is the leading cause of death.
Kent McCool inspects homes for troubled spots and sells child safety products. Homes with pools get his attention especially, and he's installed plenty of these safety fences.
It's a nice solution because you can take it down when you want to. Every section is latched together with this latch mechanism. a child's not going to be able to figure that out. It comes in 3 different heights, 3.5, 4 feet, and 5 feet high.
Inside the Holder's house, McCool installs an inexpensive door block to make sure Ethan can't get outside when he's not supposed to. It's the sort of job you can probably do yourself. Now, if you do hire someone or if you do the inspection yourself, keep in mind you have to look at things not just from your level, but also from their level. After all, that's when you'll see things the way they see things.
Cabinets are another, another area of concern where, children can get into, and a lot of choking hazards, a lot of poisonings, those types of things. When this cabinet lock is installed on here, the entire door would be latched shut. You wouldn't be able to open it unless you have this magnetic key.
McCool says homes with stairs need gates at the top and bottom. Furniture that can be tipped over, such as Ethan's bookcase, needs to be anchored, and closets pose their own dangers.
A simple thing they could do is get rid of these dry cleaning bags. When a child's crawling around, they reach up. That's definitely a suffocation, choking hazard.
But Angie Hicks of Angie's List has a reminder. Installing safety products is only part of a parent's responsibility.
Well, I think it definitely will prevent some accidents, but I think the one thing people need to make sure they remember is that to not get too relaxed for the fact that they've had it done, because it's not 100%.
And one thing that is for sure, a child's curiosity can get the best of them. David Barris, Wish TV, News 8.
Now about the cost, child safety expert Kent McCool charges $50 to inspect a home. If you'd like more information on ways to protect your home, childproof it, check out our website, wishtv.com. Click on the Health and Consumer section for a link to Angie's List.
Thanks, Joy. It's 5:30. I'm Debbie Knox. In our news tonight, a colonel with the Marion County Sheriff's Department was caught by Indianapolis Airport security today with a gun in his carry-on bag. The Sheriff's Department confirms that Colonel John Layton was stopped when screeners found the gun, but says that Layton was rushing to catch a flight and admitted his mistake after the weapon was found. Layton was given a ticket by airport police and the gun was returned to the Sheriff's Department. The colonel faces no disciplinary action until the investigation is complete. IT Mate has learned the outcome of an independent audit of Marion County's electronic voting systems. Late this afternoon, election officials were given the all clear by auditors, meaning that all the software in the system is legal and ready for Tuesday's primary. The Marion County Election Board demanded the last-minute audit after learning illegal software had been used in the last 2 elections. County Clerk Doris Ann Sadler will formally announce the findings Friday morning. And the Indiana Supreme Court has suspended the law license of a Columbus attorney accused of helping turn her law office into a front for a meth dealing operation. Karen Perkins was jailed in early March on 28 counts of insurance fraud. Prosecutors say that she was aware of the activity in her office and even bought her staffers supplies to make methamphetamine. And we want to take you to Chopper 8 right now near the area of 75th and Shadeland. This is a breaking news story, and as you can see, a car has flipped over on its side in this particular area on the northeast side of the city. We understand traffic is blocked in that area, so if you are about to drive or you know a family member who would be going into that area, you might want to avoid it. A car on its side near 75th and Shadeland. Karen?
Thanks, Debbie. Do you think today's testimony of the president and vice president before the 9/11 Commission should have been public? We'll share the results of our e-poll on that topic in just a few moments. But first, the thoughts of 2 Hoosiers with opposing views on the issue in tonight's Point Counterpoint.
The president should give this commission all the information that they can in the best interest of our national security. But I think most Americans don't expect the president to divulge every single item that occurred because they understand to do that would help our enemies, and that doesn't make any sense.
We don't elect kings in this country, and we don't elect people who have unrestrained authority. The people are the ultimate judges, and within a framework of laws, they're the ones who have to make the decision.
The President of the United States has the most important job in the entire country. He is in charge of our national security. He's in charge of making sure that every American is protected, and with that responsibility comes some state secrets that can't be divulged to all of us.
Particularly now when we're in an election year and people, ultimately the ultimate authority is going to be the people. we're going to have to make a decision about the course of the country in just a few months. One would think they'd probably want to have this information so that they can shape their decisions one way or the other.
You know, I think at the end of the day, most Americans appreciate the fact that the President and the Vice President came to this commission to testify and answer their questions, and most Americans understand we're operating with a balance here between giving the best information we can possible and the national security interests that we have to make sure that our enemies don't know all of our secrets.
Well, yeah, I think the public does deserve to know. I mean, that's the philosophic underpinning for the First Amendment. It's not there simply so that we can find out who Madonna is dating, but also to find out exactly how we should fulfill our responsibilities as citizens.
And now for the results of our unscientific poll. 50% who voted say the President and Vice President should answer 9/11 questions in public. The remainder were split closely between the choices of not answering publicly and not answering at all.
And now to your health, and this evening there is new hope for the millions of stroke patients who don't make it to the emergency room soon enough to get clot-busting medicine. Researchers are looking at whether a new type of blood-thinning drug called ReaPro can prevent the permanent damage long after anyone thought possible.
When I look right at it, I see the new and YO, and then the others kind of fades away.
Merlin Nelson suffered a stroke. He came to the hospital just slightly more than 3 hours after the onset of his symptoms.
The problem is most people don't show up before 3 hours. So the bulk of people with an acute stroke really miss the window.
Patients like Merlin miss the opportunity to get this clot-busting drug called TPA. If it's used after the 3-hour mark, it can cause brain bleeding and death. But this drug, ReaPro, may be the answer. ReaPro is used by cardiologists to treat heart attacks, but for stroke patients who miss the 3-hour window, it could be the solution to extending the window to as long as 6 hours after symptoms begin. Researchers across the country are looking at whether ReaPro can improve function and minimize disability.
If this new drug, which is really an old drug being used for a new purpose, has less bleeding consequence, that would be a benefit right there.
A stroke occurs when an artery supplying blood to the brain gets blocked off by a clot. ReaPro works by preventing blood platelets, the sticky cells, from forming clots. Dr. Siller warns, though, even it won't work if you don't get to the hospital as quickly as possible.
Even if it's the perfect drug to fix a stroke, would have to be given still before the brain has died. We want people to remember that the sooner, the better.
Participants are eligible to participate if they had the symptoms of stroke within the preceding 6 hours, or if they woke up with a stroke and get to the hospital within 3 hours. If you'd like more information on today's story, just log on to our website, wishtv.com, and click on Health and Consumer News.
Florence Rumwell is in serious training at the amazing age of 85 and a half. She's going to walk the mini marathon. I'm Renee Jamison. That story coming up on News 8.
And tonight in the mailbag, our viewers tell us what we did wrong and what we did right. It really is the good, the bad, and the ugly.
The world's deadliest chemical weapon isn't sitting in some distant country. It's in our own backyard.
A drop on your skin will kill you in a couple of minutes.
Indiana is storing 1,200 tons. IT-Mate investigates how vulnerable you are to this dangerous chemical.
We drove along the perimeter and nobody said anything to us.
Discover how a terrorist attack or even a tornado could put you in jeopardy. IT-Mate Project Security, tonight at 6 on Wish TV's News 8.
We're a little over a week away from the 28th running of the nation's largest half marathon. 30,000 people will take part in the race. And if you're still seeking a little inspiration, you may find it in a little park just west of the city. News 8's Renee Jamison takes us there.
In the midst of a Thursday morning, spring is shining on Williams Park in Brownsburg.
You see the beautiful flowers and get in with the breezes and the birds singing.
Florence Rumwell is the lady in red. Everybody knows her.
She's fantastic. She has such stamina, and I've seen her out walking on other streets all day long.
And people can't help but like her.
Great spirit. She said to us as we were coming around here, she's, "Righto, I'm off now," and she takes off and we can hardly keep up with her.
Well, I'm 85 and a half, I guess you don't most say. But I'm going to be walking the mini.
That's great. What a way to stay young.
85 and a half, and she's going to walk a half marathon.
Oh, you just feel free. I think maybe that is. It's just a wonderful experience, I guess.
Oh, terribly inspiring. Yes, I mean, she keeps me going because it's like if she can do it, I've got to be able to at least keep up.
Florence is not a rookie to the mini marathon. In fact, this is her 5th time, but this one is special.
This is my granddaughter, Michelle Kolb, and she's going to be walking with me on the mini, and we're sure looking forward to having a good time.
We should mention one little thing. Florence is a tad bit competitive.
You see somebody ahead of you and you say, let's beat them. You know, it's just a fun challenge, I think.
And just when you think she's going to slow down,
I run downhill. That's the only time.
15 years from 100, and you wouldn't know it.
I just enjoy living, I guess, and looking forward to heaven someday.
For now, sky's the limit. Renee Jameson, Wish TV, News 8.
Florence's granddaughter is coming here from North Carolina to take part in the race. Florence says she can't wait. We will let you know how they do. And remember, Wish TV is the only place for start-to-finish coverage of the mini marathon. Our coverage begins on daybreak Saturday at 6 a.m. Race day, May 8th.
It is Thursday, just after 5:30. That means time to read the mail. Here are some of your letters to the mailbag. We begin this week's mailbag with an email from Richard Smoker. He writes, as I watched the piece you broadcast on Pat Tillman, the former NFL player killed in Afghanistan, I wondered if you were planning to do any pieces on the other members of the military killed in action. Being the crack news organization that you are, you should have known that Sergeant Tillman did not want his career in the NFL to overshadow his service to his country. Yet, here's the media doing exactly what he did not wish to happen. What of the others who pay just as high a price for their service to their country? Are they any less deserving to have their story broadcast by the almighty media? Linda Shoup writes, your weather team is the best. My son, who is a semi-truck driver, was stuck in the snowstorm in southern Colorado last Friday. I emailed meteorologist Sean Ash, who in turn emailed me links to all weather bulletins. Then he went over and above and called to ask if there was anything else he could do. Thanks for helping to put a mother's mind at ease. Clint Chase is persistent. He writes, okay, I said too much in my first email, so I'll try again. The new red background on your news set is terrible, distracting, ugly. And here's an email we don't receive every day. Pat Reed writes, I'd like to thank the candidates for governor for their clean and enjoyable campaigns. What a refreshing pre-election this has been. Yeah, what a refreshing letter that was. Thanks to everyone who called or wrote in this week. Now, here's how you can reach us with your comments about our newscast. Once again, you'll note the mailbag is on at a new time, but all of our addresses remain the same. Just write or call, and next Thursday, we'll open the mailbag again.
Well, Survivor has loads of Indiana fans, so what would they be willing to go through for a free trip to see the big finale live in New York? You'll see for yourself.
A spectacular day outside today. Blue skies, warm temperatures into the 70s. Are we going to return there tomorrow, and will we bring in a few showers for your Friday? The forecast is next.
I never dreamed that my career would be to the promotion of colonel by the President of the United States in the Oval Office.
Congressman Steve Booyer talks about his new rank in the Army Reserve. I'm Jim Cello with a look at why his primary opponent questions the timing.
Our 5 o'clock news hour continues now with a live look through Chopper 8. You can see a beautiful, beautiful spring day in central Indiana. I got a chance to get out on this beautiful spring day. Headed up to Pendleton, Maple Ridge Elementary. Here's a couple of snapshots from the kids up there. Talked to the 3rd grade class from Maple Ridge Elementary. Had a great time talking about severe storms and calm weather as well. Sunshine. They like the sunshine. It was beautiful up there today. A few clouds have drifted in through the afternoon hours, and a few showers are starting to show up back in Illinois. You can see from Chicago back down through Springfield all the way through St. Louis, and you could kind of project those rain showers into here by tomorrow. Might even see a few later on tonight. 65 degrees in Springfield where the rain has cooled things down, but most of the area in the 70s, including all of central Indiana. 76 Indianapolis, 75 in Muncie, 77 in Bloomington. Our official high today climbed up to 77 degrees. We're going to watch that rainfall out to the west of us, and it could cool numbers down a little bit tomorrow at times when we see some showers, but in general our highs will be back up into the mid to the upper 70s. 79 Bloomington, Columbus, 78, 76 degrees in the capital city. The rain through tonight will mainly stay out to the west of us, but there may be a few showers, just a few that scrape western and northwestern parts of Indiana. As we go into tomorrow, a little bit more moisture will start to feed up, and that could produce some showers in the early morning hours, but most of the action will take place during the day. The sun heats up the atmosphere, gives it energy, and gives it lift, and that's what will produce these showers during the day tomorrow. Some scattered showers, maybe a few thunderstorms popping up as well. Cold front starts to slice into the state as we go into tomorrow evening, and you can see the bulk of the energy, the strongest storms will be right along that front and back out around that low pressure system, and that's what's going to slide in here as we go through Friday night and early Saturday. Midnight, the low, western Indiana, the heavier showers starting to move into the capital city and points to the north. Then that wave of activity will roll through Indiana and into Ohio by early Saturday morning. But look, more rain building. That's because there's going to be another wave, another low pressure system that's going to move along that front and spread those rain showers in for your day on Saturday. It looks like most of the activity on Saturday in the afternoon and the evening, but it could be a day we're going to dodge the rain showers almost all day long. For tonight, maybe a couple of spotty showers out to the west and northwest, mostly cloudy, 58 degrees for the low. Late tonight, a few more showers possible in central Indiana, and through the day on Friday, a few more of those. 76 degrees for your high tomorrow. Scattered thunderstorms, most of those in the afternoon and the evening. And on Saturday, the same kind of story. Showers, a few thunderstorms, 70 degrees for the high, so cooling it down a little bit. 62 the low. 55 on Sunday with a chance for a few spotty sprinkles. 55, then 58 on Monday. 62 by Tuesday.
We do want to take you live to breaking news being tracked from the air by Chopper 8. This is an accident on the south side of Indianapolis. This is westbound 465 at US 31. 2 lanes are blocked and it's backed up to Emerson Avenue. Westbound 465 at US 231 backed up nearly to Emerson Avenue. Well, we are certainly getting down to the wire on Survivor All-Stars. On tonight's new episode, another contestant will go home. But in Indianapolis this morning at Radio Now 93.1, these contestants gave it their all to win a trip to the Survivor finale in New York. 3 local couples took part in various challenges, while 2 women showed their support for Indiana favorite Rupert with the tie-dyed t-shirts. Marcy Russ was the big winner. Now she and her husband, Dwayne, will go on to the Big Apple. And tonight on News 8 at 11, don't miss Wish TV's Survivor winner. We will announce who won our trip for 2 to New York to attend the big finale.
Garage sale fans have probably never seen anything like what's coming up tomorrow. Would you believe a 50-mile-long sale? And how is one town dealing with people who don't cut their grass? Letting it grow could be a costly decision. That's next. Good evening. Welcome back to News 8. Now to what's making news in your neighborhood. Thrifty Threads is back in business in Broad Ripple. The store is run by the Julian Center as a place where victims of domestic abuse can shop for clothes and household items which they receive for free. In recent months, the business has been remodeled through the volunteer work of Kroger supermarket employees and donations from the company.
And they came into Thrifty Threads and said the facility needs this, and this, and here we are, and we're going to provide it, and we're going to provide not only the expertise, but the volunteers to get the job done, and that's what's amazing about this partnership.
Thrifty Threads needs donations from the public. The store serves about 1,300 women and children each year. Mayor Peterson is handing out money, but there's no need to rush to the city-county building. This cash is reserved for 23 community groups. Neighborhood action grants are used for anything from beautification projects to youth programs. The Children's Bureau and Neighborhood Alliance for Child Safety will use their money for support services.
We're giving moms a Mom's Night Out. We're giving them educational series and parenting information, as well as helping them secure their financial credit and other things like that that is needed for people just in daily living.
The mayor today gave out $38,000 in neighborhood grants. Walmart is running into trouble as it tries to build a large supermarket and pharmacy in Fishers. The retailing giant hopes to put the business in the 11,000 block of Allisonville Road. The Fishers Planning Office opposes the store, which is nearly twice the size at what the land is zoned for. But the Town Council and Plan Commission are not bound by the Planning Office's report. A public hearing on the proposal is set for May 11th at Fishers Town Hall. Walmart has faced opposition recently as it tries to build stores at sites in and around Indianapolis. If you live in Franklin and you don't cut your lawn, you're going to be in trouble with the city. Well-kept lawns are what the Franklin City Council hopes to see, but if the grass is too high, owners will hear about it. If grass is above 9 inches, the city will post a warning on the property and send a letter by certified mail. If the grass isn't cut within 10 days, city workers will do the job and property owners will be billed. Now, if you're a fan of garage sales, here is one you will not want to miss. It's tomorrow and Saturday starting at 8 a.m. And here's what makes it different. It's 50 miles long. Homes, businesses, and churches along State Road 38 between Noblesville and Newcastle are invited to take part. 3 business owners in Pendleton came up with the idea to go along with the town's annual plant sale. The Republican Columbus, the Daily County Daily Journal, and the Herald Bulletin of Anderson all contributed to Neighborhood 8 tonight, and we thank them. I will picture the day and a look at this evening's weather when we return. Plus, live coverage from the fairgrounds where leaders of the embattled Indigo bus service say changes are on the way.
Now we conclude our 5 o'clock news hour with a picture of the day. It is an extraordinary picture. 2 men, the President and Vice President of the United States, meet for more than 3 hours with the 9/11 Commission. Later, the President called it a good session. The Commission called it forthcoming and candid. It is our picture of the day and one more indication that what happened September 11th, 2001 will have a lasting impact on the leadership of this country. Let's check the forecast again now. Here's Steve.
So far, so good today. Beautiful day out there. 77 degrees for our high. A few showers are billing out to the west of us, and these may move in as early as this evening in the western and northwestern part of the area. Then overnight, we'll see another chance for some rain showers. So through this evening, look for the clouds. A lot of high, kind of hazy clouds out there. Temperature by 10 p.m. only dropping down to around 67 degrees. We have a very warm, mild, warm, breezy flow of air coming in here. So the clouds around and a few showers. And Angela, 6 o'clock, you're talking about some more showers that will be here.
Right, those showers you just showed on Forecast 8 Storm Tracker, really just the beginning of what could be a wet weather pattern the next couple of days. Stay tuned for your forecast.